Welcome to this tutorial of Hypermesh that will be oriented towards creating 3D meshes for biomechanical applications. So typically irregular geometries that come from um, files format that are similar, for example, to the STL formats and so on. This will be the continuation of the tutorial of Amira, and therefore I will use the same surfaces that were used in were created in this tutorial here. So first of all, we will start with considering the how to import surfaces and more or less what is the layout of Amira for this of Hypermesh for this first video. So to import well, a project, we go on well on this arrow and we go import solver deck. At this point, we have different types of files that we can import. In general, I will show you STL and HMASHI. So this is stays for Hypermesh. So this is a file format that works very well with Hypermesh because it's basically the same program. But you might start with sort of you might have an STL because you might not have this specific file. So in general, then, well, you go there, you select the file location, and then you go and you press import. So in this case, this was well, you can see the imported elements from this model. Okay, so this is the result that what you get. You can see that everything is red in this case, and so this means that there is no distinction between, for example, this external part and the rest of the hill. This would indeed require some steps to divide what is the parts that we want to keep and the parts that we don't want to keep. But this will be explained in a future video. What I would recommend is, on the other hand, if you have the possibility to use the Hypermesh ASCII file format, because in this case you can well, Hypermesh finds out already the different types of material that you have. So you go on model, so on this menu here, and then you go on components. So here we have 20 components. So this one was the previous file imported with the STL format that we can, for example, delete. And well, we have, for example, these two walls that we want to remove because they are not part of the model. We just added them because we wanted to avoid some sort of smoothing. So you can hide them just by clicking this part, or of course you can just remove them and go on delete, for example. And well, let's remove also this red one. Maybe this one. Okay, so at this point we have some file like a base to start from. So the layout of Hypermesh mainly works like this. So you have this menu here that is mostly for viewing purposes. So for example, you can remove the color of the element, so the color of the face. Here you have different kinds of viewing yeah, options. I don't know if now we can already see some changes. I don't think so. No. Well, this will be more useful in the future when we'll have different type of elements. Here you can basically browser your model. So you have model and some sort of masks. Mainly, we will always stick into the model one. You can change the colors, and here you always have like these viewing possibilities to just click and unclick. To perform, to work and create meshes, for example, there is, first of all, this menu over here. So for example, you can go on mesh and then create. Here we will create the meshes, but we will have first also to go through the geometry, because first we will create, for example, surfaces and solids. So in fact, there are different types of, okay, we can call them objects. So right now we imported some elements, and in particular we imported a surface mesh. The goal is to create a solid mesh. So solid because surface, because this thing is only on the surface, right? So we don't have nothing that goes inside the volume or the solid, okay? So this is not a solid mesh. This is just a surface mesh. From this, we will first go through a process where we will create some surfaces, so there are parametric surfaces, and then many parametric surfaces will create solids that is another type of object. And according to the types of object, you have different possibilities for the meshes, of course. So it's important to have clear that there are these different types of objects that we will pass through. Finally, to save, it's pretty straightforward, like save as, and we can save session, and we can go on. So let me check if this worked. No, it didn't. Okay, so I think this time, yeah. So we have these two files, and we can check that everything works. So for example, we can go on here, heal mesh, and this should reload all of our model. Yes. Okay, so this will conclude our first video.